Demon Clone, our True Monologues. I just reading this article posted on Independent Journal Review, which I get in the email every day, at least one, usually two or three. It is like, it's obviously one of those right-wing or somewhat radical websites. Definitely very Republican, right-wing, zealot. A lot of Christianity involved there. So anyway, this gentleman, calling it a gentleman, he produced a video, which I believe is on YouTube, suggesting that Barron Trump is autistic and the consequences could be serious for him for doing so. I just want to say this. I have a great deal of respect for the man because he actually apologized, took the video down, and apologized to the Trump family for presenting the thing, which is he said his intentions were not to actually be a bully and libel and slander and defame anyone. Didn't mean to hurt anyone, and I respect that he actually apologized and explained his apology, and I accept it. But I'm not the people involved with that. His situation is between him and the Trump family, and if there are lawyers involved and if he gets sued for libel and defamation, whatever, then slander, then I'll have to work that out. But I think he's apologized and publicly, and I accept that apology myself. Not that I as a not involved person accept his apology, and I think it's sincere, and I agree with him that it was a foolish thing to do. But he was saying it, suggesting it, but he wasn't suggesting it, so to speak. I mean, he kind of says, I didn't mean it to be that. I was actually just pointing out that we shouldn't be bullies. Unfortunately, by doing so, he kind of made himself look like a bully. And anyway, he apologized, and I'm willing to let it go at that. I'm not the Trump family, and he didn't say it about me, so I don't really have anything in it, except as an observer. However, I wanted to point out something, because the article is, it's there, it's on the internet. You could probably find it if you looked for it under Independent Journal Review. And so here's what I wanted to say something about. Let me find it again. It's not so much this article, it's not the Trump family suing this person, it's not whether this person is a good person, a bad person, or said something right or wrong, or should be sued or shouldn't be sued or whatever. That's what it is, and it's not my concern. It's somebody else. It's their business, and they'll have to deal with it accordingly. And I suspect it'll probably not come to any actual lawsuits. But what does concern me is the definition of defamation per YouTube's legal policies. In other words, YouTube has a policy, and they have a definition for the word defamation. And this is one of those cases where people can take a word and put a definition to it, whatever they want it to be, and they think, well, I'm going to redefine the word and make it what I want it to mean. Make it mean what I want it to make it mean something it's not. The process of doing that, by the way, is called babble. Babblizing English. And there's other words that have been used over the years. Double speak, false speak, Orwellian speak. So here's the policy definition according to YouTube. Defamation is any untrue statement that is harmful to someone's reputation or causes someone to be shunned or avoided. Now, that's according to YouTube's legal policy. Now let's see. Can we actually define defamation a little better than that? A little bit more accurate definition? We could go to the dictionary and look it up, couldn't we? Yes, of course we could. You could, too. I don't have to do everything for you. You know, use your own brain. Do what you got to do for yourself. Don't even depend on me to tell you. You can hear me and agree with me, but I'm not saying just take my word for it. Look it up in the dictionary yourself, and use one of those dictionaries that hasn't been tampered with by the neocon socialist collective agenda mindbender bullshitters, because the dictionary has been tampered with, some of them. Like dictionary.com on the internet has been tampered with, and is run by a guy that's pretty much just basically, I think, probably a socialist. And he says stuff about his word. I mean, in his dictionary, it says things that are just not true about the word. He gives it a different meaning than what it actually means for some reason. He's probably trying to condition people to accept that definition as true when it's not. At any rate, just a little side note. Be weary if you go to weary. See there? Words. Tricky. All right. Be suspicious if the definition of a word comes from dictionary.com and others. But want to cross-reference that to a real dictionary, written before the current era of mind-benders and word twisters and babble. I think that the definition put forth by YouTube is it's acceptable. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't always enforce their policy. They may enforce their policy against some people, like me, for example, but they don't apply the same definition to themselves and to other people who definitely fit that definition. An untrue statement. Well, do I have to give you examples? I can. I will. For example, it's common these days to call people on the internet, for people on the internet to actually post things on the internet and say things like, you're an idiot. Since I'm not an idiot, calling me an idiot is, in fact, making an untrue statement. There are other words. Creepy. I'm not creepy. It might seem creepy to you, but that doesn't mean I'm actually creepy. It's just your biased opinion, which is probably said in a hurtful way to just be hurtful and mean, because I'm obviously not an idiot. There are words like there are people that say, you're all right, I gotta go with this one. It's a very common one today. It's used a lot. It's misused a lot. It doesn't mean what people think it means. And people also have come to conclusions based on their ignorance and misinformation and stupidity that the word applies to people that it just doesn't apply to. And I can say this because I know what the word means, and it doesn't mean that. Like people who are saying, for example, someone says, "Oh, you're a pedophile." And there's the meaning. The word means what it means, and it means someone who's sexually attracted to a child. Well, the word child has a definition And it's not the definition you find in Title 18 of the U.S. Code. They made that definition up out of thin air. And if you're not familiar with that, you should be. It's another example of the mind benders bricking with your mind and changing the meaning of words and creating babble, turning the English language into babble, meaning not anything intelligent or... There you go. Whatever. Babble. Gibberish. You say something like, "Oh, I said something," and I believe it, and I'm serious. And then, it turns out that what you said isn't true. And what the word you used doesn't apply because it's not the right word to use. You used it incorrectly. You thought it meant something that it didn't. The word pedophile, for example, doesn't mean someone who is sexually attracted to teenagers. Now, I have a tendency to get a little bit of emotion there when I get into this because it just pisses me off. As far as I'm concerned, someone calling someone else a pedophile who is not a pedophile, because they're lumping everybody under, they're considering the word child means everyone under 18, which is actual word is minor. And it's a legal term, has nothing to do with reality in the real world, in the civilian world. So calling someone a pedophile who is not a pedophile is libelous, slanderous, defamation. And I will point out here, as far as the policy for YouTube is concerned, that is harmful to someone's reputation or causes someone to be shunned or avoided. I would add that causes someone to be arrested and charged with just being something, which is absurd. And that's why there are courts and laws governing libel, slander, and defamation, as the word is actually defined, not as some idiot makes up out of thin air and decides that's what it means. The word child, for example, means prepubescent, someone under the age of, say, 12, roughly, not a teenager. When you codified the word child in the law and you define the word differently, you have taken a word that is commonly believed to mean something specific, like under 12, prepubescent, and made that word child mean something it's not. It doesn't mean that. You can't use the word child to describe a 15-year-old. I'm talking about in legalities and in the application of words in society. The word child can mean an offspring of a person, like your child, your baby, your offspring, your spawn. A person you brought into the world through your womb, and who will always be your child because you are the parent of it. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the use of the word child to mean a minor, a legal term. So the word child has become a legal term and not a real word. So if you're going to call someone a child who is like 17, then you're wrong. And that's not debatable. It's wrong. And you really shouldn't do it, because it makes you look like a fool. And you can say things like that, and it can hurt people. And you shouldn't do it. It's like, to me, calling someone a pedophile is, one, pretty much like calling them a nigger. Yes, and I actually said the word out loud. Duh, it's a word. But I wanted to make sure you understood what I'm saying, that you understand what I mean, what I'm saying is. And what I'm saying is, calling someone a pedophile has become as common as calling someone a nigger used to be. And I think if you're offended by someone using that word, the N word, and I just used it twice, legitimately, and without any malice or slur towards any human being, but as a word. talking about the word, its usage, its meaning. I'm not talking about you or me or anyone else calling someone that word. I'm talking about the N-word. And there was somebody got all huffy puffy on the internet the other day because somebody actually said it on live TV. You know, the word N-word out loud, as the whole word, like not the N-word. He said the word. And oh, I can't believe you said that word on my show. And, yeah, well, it's just a word, and it means something. It doesn't. I mean, you're not slurring anyone. You're not insulting anyone. You're not suggesting that you're a N-word. That's different than saying the word is the word, and it means what it means. And the N-word, yeah, it's like saying, I can't say the word black because that's what it means. But it becomes a slur because people think that there are definitions to that word that don't exist, like to call someone the N-word. And I hate saying the N-word because it's just silly. It's nothing wrong with the other word. The whole word is a word. It's just letters put in a way to make a sound that sounds like something, an idea. All right. So what I'm suggesting is, in a court of law, YouTube's legal policies and terms and definitions don't mean shit. Because if you libel me, if you slander me, if you defame me by calling me a name or calling me something that's not true, if you say, you rape little girls or something, which is not true, that's libel. Or if you wrote it, if you say it out loud, it's slander. And if you said it to me or about me on a public forum, it could be defamation because you have defamed me and my good name and my reputation. Whether you caused anyone to shun me or avoid me is irrelevant. The fact is, if you say that to me, if you call me, let's say, a pedophile, and that's, by the way, that's the new N-word. And it should be treated the same as the N-word. It shouldn't be tolerated, and people should be offended by it. And, quite honestly, you shouldn't call people pedophiles that are not pedophiles. And if you don't know them, you have no clue whether they are or not. And I can assure you, there are a lot of pedophiles in the world that you don't know about. And they don't do anything illegal. Or unlawful, as the case may be. The word lawful and unlawful, a little bit different than legal and illegal. I prefer unlawful. Because a lot of the laws that are on the books in America are like total bullshit and not really laws at all because they don't describe a real crime. Like talking to a teenager is a felony. And like, excuse me? I'm not going to get into that here, but it's just stupid. So, personally, I think there should be an internet court. I think that people who say things on the internet that are not true about another person, like calling someone a creep, a retard, I mean, that's a big deal. That's just common usage of a word because you're an idiot and you don't know any better, or you're illiterate and you think, I'll just say this and whatever. But calling someone a rapist who isn't a rapist, who has never raped anyone in his life, to call him a rapist is slander, and you could be sued for it, and you could actually go to jail for it. When I say jail, it's a possibility, because you could violate a court order telling you to cease and desist saying such lies about another person, and you continue to say such lies about that person. Then you are in contempt of court and go to jail for it. So indirectly, you can go to jail for slandering, libeling, and defaming another person, if you continue to do so after you've been ordered by the courts not to. And also ordered by the courts to apologize and give the person you falsely accused and said something untrue about, give them $10 million in punitive damages for having defamed them. Whether I was shunned or avoided or my reputation was damaged and all is irrelevant to the fact that you actually said something that's not true about me, and it was insulting and rude and crude and disgusting. And you should be held accountable for it. Just like any ignorant hillbilly redneck, I don't want to say hillbilly redneck, calling someone the N-word. You should be held accountable. You should be sued. You should be sued for libel if you call someone a pedophile who is not a pedophile. Because your implication might also be you're a pedophile and you rape little girls or little boys or whatever. That's a lie if it's not true. And in my case, it's not true. Never raped anyone in my life. And I'm not a pedophile. I am something, but I'm not that. And it's because I understand what the word means. Your use of the word, in my case, directed at me, is a crime, a civil crime, and irresponsible and stupid. And you should be held accountable. You should be taken to court. The trouble is, the internet, there's just so many people, there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people, and a lot of them say stupid shit. And as a friend of mine once said, it's just AOL, or it's just the internet. Well, it's more important than that, because the internet is not just the internet anymore. The internet has taken on its own life form. It is in itself a reality. And if I was a rich man, like super rich, like billions of dollars, like Donald Trump, for example, and somebody libeled me, slandered me, defamed me in public, like on the internet, like Facebook or something, yeah. If I had the time and the money, I'd sue them, every single one of them, for libel, slander, and defamation, and I would win in the court of law. But assuming that court of law is legitimate and actually obeys the laws, does its job, and deals with people who commit that crime, civil crime. I want to point out that being something is not a crime. Doing something is a crime. You have to actually do something. A physical act has to be done before you can be found guilty of a crime. I know in America today they've got everything all screwed up and fucked all to pieces that you don't even know what you're talking about anymore, and the government does all kind of shit that's stupid, wrong, illegal, immoral, disgusting, and pathetic. And courts actually commit crimes against people on a daily basis, along with the police departments of America. Gestapo, as I like to call them. Fascist Nazi police state bastards. So, which is a description that fits, because I know what those words mean, and they are what those words are meaning. So, alright, so the statement printed here as a definition for the word defamation in YouTube's legal policies, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't change the legal definition of the word. And it doesn't necessarily have to raise to the level of causing people to shun or avoid me if I'm the person, the victim of the slander. Courts have a different criteria and a different standard than YouTube. YouTube can make up its rules, but that doesn't make it law. And it doesn't mean the word is legally defined by them. All right? So that was what I was talking about here. As far as Barron being autistic, apparently he's not. And apparently the guy said something like that in public and posted it on YouTube or whatever, and that was just irresponsible of him. But if his intentions were good intended, then his apology should suffice. Taking him to court at this point is just foolish. And might have contrary consequences. All right, that's what I had to say about that. The other one in the same article, talking about the guy who made the video, put it up on the internet, and called or insinuated or implied or questioned whether or not Barron was autistic or not. And this is what it says, quotes, the end of the article. He also could be at risk for violating copyright law and privacy laws for a minor, depending on how he obtained the footage. Now, they're going to deal with it. Yes, no, right, wrong, whatever. They'll deal with it. Not my business. I'm not going to get involved with the legalities of that. It's not my problem. It's not my case. It's not. They're not talking about me. I have nothing in it. I invested in it or not. And in this case, it's between those people. The guy that posted the video and apologized for it, and the Trump family. It's up to them to deal with it, however they choose to deal with it. It could get absurd if the courts did something stupid, whatever. So anyway, the part here that as what I just read to you, violating copyright law, it's possible if he took clips from other videos that he didn't own and used it in his video. There's a chance that he could have violated copyright law, but overall, not necessarily. Because if somebody does something in public and you have a video of that person doing that in public, that's a little complicated. I don't want to get into the mystery, the magic of the illusion of photographs and what you might see in a video. Because videos are not real people. Anyway, if you copyright laws, they can deal with that, but I don't think he did. I don't think he actually violated any copyright law by making the video using clips from other people's videos, etc. Particularly if he gave some credit to the people that made the actual video that he used the clip from. Privacy laws for a minor is what I'm concerned about here. Privacy laws for a minor. Well, in the first place, that's bullshit. They make up these laws out of thin air, and they call them valid when they're not. They try to enforce them, which is a crime in itself. And you cannot discriminate. It's against the law in this country. If you want to talk about laws, that's a law you should be talking about. It is against the law to discriminate against a minor. Privacy laws. I suspect most of the privacy laws are just bullshit and are invalid, basically because they're not necessary, and secondly because it's just foolish thinking on the part of those people who made those laws, which they're not allowed to make, because you can't discriminate against a group of people based on their age. So you can't discriminate against a minor, and a minor has no more right to privacy than an adult. You don't. I'm sorry. If you think that, you've been brainwashed. You've been, your brain's been made dysfunctional. You've been indoctrinated with bullshit. Because, there's a lot of cases like that. There's a lot of cases where someone is discriminated against by the government. Now, I'm not talking about you, me, personally, individually, as a civilian. I'm talking about the government here. A lot of people just simply don't understand the law, and they don't understand English, so they get kind of in a big sinkhole of stupidity. Minors have no more rights to privacy than an adult. You don't get special privilege just because you're under 18. That's just stupid. It's anti-nature, anti-freedom, and like I said, it's just plain stupid. If I see you in public, then you're not in private. So understand that. If I see you in public, you're not in private. You don't get privacy rights when you're standing on the street, or if you're standing on a stage in front of, TV cameras and the world and whatever. You're in public. So if the videotapes that he used, the clips that he used, were from someone who took the video of Barron on a public place, in a public place, like on a public street or on a stage or whatever in front of the public, then his privacy is irrelevant. That only applies if you're like in your house, with your curtains drawn, your doors shut, in your basement. If you're standing on your front porch and I can look across the street from my front porch and see you standing on your front porch, then you're not in private. I can see you. And by the way, if I can see you with my mind's eye, I can see you with my camera's eye. I see you in the street, public place, with my eyes. I can take your picture because my camera is nothing but another form of seeing and remembering. So I snap my camera, I take your image, not you, because you're still a free person. You're not like trapped in my camera like a lot of ancient, like primitive tribes. Oh, you captured my soul, I'm in your box. And no. That's a naive and stupid attitude. Unless you're like a pygmy, in which case we can forgive you for not, because you've never seen a camera before, you have no idea. But in today's America, where every human being in this country over the age of 4 should understand the concept of I can see you, I can therefore remember what I saw when I looked at you in my memory card in my head, which is the same thing as my memory card in my camera. It's memory. You're not in the memory. The memory is of you. Of is not the same as being you. It's about you, not you. Because photographs are illusions, magic. In other words, your brain uses some sort of magic to get the image that your eyes are observing into your brain, and your brain sees what your eyes is providing to you, information. Your brain does the seeing, your eyes just do the looking, for example. A photograph is not a person. For example, if I take a picture of a tree, the picture is an image, an illusion. Your eyes send the data to your brain translates that into something recognizable, like, oh, that's a picture of George, Frank, Bill, Bob, Mary, Betty Bush. Bush? Betty Bush. Yuck. I think I just vomited a little. So I'm saying is that photographs are not people. You take a picture of a tree, it's not a tree. A picture of a tree is not a tree. It's of a tree. You ought to know what the word of stands for. You ought to look up the word of in the dictionary if you don't know what it means. It means of. It doesn't mean is. So photograph of a person. Let's say you can see somebody and, I see you, you're walking down the street naked. And I can see you. I look at you in my eyes and I see that, oh, there's a person walking down the street naked. And I'm going to remember seeing that in my mind. My mind memory card is going to recall that. And I can recall that image in my mind whenever I choose, and I can see it in my mind again. You're naked. And nice tits, by the way. So anyway, it's not a crime. I can see you. I can take your picture, by the way. And having taken the picture becomes an illusion, an image, a memory. In the same way a camera has a memory. Your mind has a memory card. And you're entitled to do that. You don't need anybody's permission to look at them if they're in public. And you don't have no law that can prevent you from remembering seeing them in public. And you can, there's no law against remembering that on your camera or in your mind. It's the same thing. They're equal in function. So remember that. I I can see you. I can take your picture in my mind, click in my brain, and that image is in my head. I can also take a picture of you with my camera, click, which is simply a substitute from my mind and my eyeballs. So keep that in mind, and if you hear otherwise, if you think otherwise, you're wrong. And you're wrong legally as well as intellectually. Wrong. So in other words, stop doing that, because that's just stupid. Why would you continue doing something that is wrong? Why would you continue to believe something that is wrong and proven to be wrong? That would be delusional, to continue to believe something that has been proven not true. I'm talking about cameras, photographs, pictures, privacy, and so on. So it's the idea that we got to protect the kids. And that's an insane way of looking at things. That's not even my opinion. That's just a fact. You're fucking insane if you believe that shit. Alright. Said my piece about that, and so forth. And that's the end of this segment. I'm going to end a little bit early and remind you. I'm going to add something else here. Something off that subject. I've been reading Thomas Paine lately, and the one I'm currently reading is called Age of Reason by Thomas Paine, who apparently is a brilliant man. Was a brilliant man, dead now. And I highly recommend get a hold of the copy of Age of Reason by Thomas Paine and read that sucker. It'll do your brain good. And he pretty much said, and this is over 100 years ago that he said it in his book, I'm amazed because I'm not the only one that thinks like that. He actually was saying things that I have said myself. And he said it in his own style and, his own fashion of speaking. And I think this was a translation from French, maybe? All right. So, I didn't know Thomas Paine was French. I thought he was an American. Anyway, see how little I know? And I'm still not sure, because he apparently wrote this in some other language besides English, that it had to be translated from whatever the language he wrote it in into English for us to read it in English. So, I highly recommend it. Age of Reason by Thomas Paine. Get it, read it, particularly the first 5 or 6 chapters, where he is very reasonable and gives us very good reasons to change our mindset about certain things like religion, God, and the Bible, and so on. You might say I actually agree with Thomas Paine on that particular book and his concepts and thoughts on that sort of thing. But anyway, read it, get it, read it, read it, read it, read it, get it, read it. You can get it. It's cheap. It's not that expensive. Amazon, I think I paid 99 cents for the ebook. Age of Reason, Thomas Paine. Get it. Read it. Learn something. And, while you're reading, don't talk. Just read. All right, so I wanted to get that plug in there. By the way, it's not too late to get your own personal customized calendar for the year 2017. Here's the deal. Here's what I'm offering. You send me 13 good quality photographs of yourself. Call them selfies if you like. Have someone else take your picture, whatever. Send them to me. I will put those pictures in the format of a calendar, print it out, and sell it to you at a reasonable price. So there's still time. I would need at least a week before the end of the year. If you wanted to get it by the end of the year so you can have it for January 1st, you need to do that now. And I'm still not going to guarantee you're going to get it by the 1st of January, but because some things are out of my control, like the printers take whatever time is necessary for them to print it, and it needs to be shipped, and that's going to take a week or so. But send me 13. Yeah, call me first, contact me first, send me an email, whatever, and say, hey, I'd like to take advantage of your service and make a calendar, personalized calendar of me, like with dirty, naughty, sexy pictures of me, so I can give it to my boyfriend for Christmas. So he can enjoy me for all year long. By looking at the calendar, he's going to see me and my cute little butt, or whatever. Or you can just use a family portraits. I can do a family-oriented calendar. But the main thing is I need 13 good quality pictures. And I will do that for you. And the prices for that start at roughly free. Because if you send me pictures and I can use them in the calendar and they're not exclusive to you in your calendar, in other words, if I can use the pictures you send me for other artworks as a source for other artworks to make paintings and so forth, then I might just give you the calendar for free as payment for your services of giving me photographs of yourself or whatever. So there's still time for that. You've got about, say, 2 weeks or so if you want the calendar finished and delivered to you by the first of the year. Give or take, more or less. Not responsible for the delivery rates in the post office and so on. All right, so there's the plug for that. By the way, you can also get copies of my poetry book, my first published volume of poetry, which is, some people still like poetry. I do. And I urge you to go to Amazon, look me up. The name of the book is Words in a Row, Book 1. Amazon lists it for $7.50 plus shipping, which is about $4. Standard shipping. If you want a copy of that, contact me. I'll send you a copy in the mail. There's no ebook version of it yet, for a reason I won't get into. And I can probably save you a little on the shipping because, I'll send it to you. Won't be charging you an arm and a leg for shipping like Amazon and other places charge. You can do that. And Amazon, the name is D. McClung or D.L. McClung on Amazon. Look it up. And it would probably make a fine gift for someone that you care about. All right. So you got the calendar deal. And I've also got calendars that are not custom calendars for you. They're just general calendars. I got one that's pictures of trees. The current one is tree collection, pictures of trees. It's available on lulu.com. And the name is the same on there as well. Contact me. My email, my website has a contact information. DELDEMCCLUNG. That's dlmcclung.com. And visit my website where you're at it. And of course, you've got the radio shows. Subscribe to the show and get notifications in your inbox when I post a new show. All right, let's just get this ball rolling here, people. All right, I'm gonna let you go now. I'll talk to you later.